This is a picture of my good pal Tristan. Alright, as you can see, he's very jacked, has beautiful long hair, and definitely speaks to tons of 10 out of 10 women, right? Now watch this. BAM! You probably just said to yourself, who's this fucking cuntbag pussy soy boy cuck on my screen? The crazy thing is, the only thing I changed was the size of his forearms. Now, if you don't want to end up like this cuntbag pussy soy boy cuck, then follow exactly what I say in this video. And also subscribe and like so I can get monetized. Now, my experience with forearms is pretty limited, but I know what it feels like to have big forearms when they're pumped. Cutting the bullshit, let's get straight into pro number one. You look big in shirts, alright? Now, no matter if you're bulking or cutting, if you have big arms, chest, legs, nobody's gonna know because it's covered by clothing material. So, unless you have some fat fucking forearms, then nobody knows you actually lift. And what's the point of lifting if nobody knows you lift? Con number one. Chronic masturbator accusations. Pretty self-explanatory. There's two types of people in this world, lifters and non-lifters. And unfortunately, most people are non-lifters. Meaning, if you have big forearms, people aren't gonna immediately assume you just train them 3 times a week. They're gonna assume you wank and you willy. Now, most people, if they see a guy with big forearms, especially if both of them are big, they're gonna assume that he's just using the akimbo perk while he's masturbating, all right? Now, hopefully we don't achieve that with this look of lifting, but this is just a con of having big forearms. Pro number two, you get mad bitches. Look at Tristan again. Now look at his forearms. Now look at all these beautiful women that are admiring his muscular arm calves. Con number two, having big forearms could make your arms look smaller. Not ideal. Now, as long as you don't train too much, then it won't be blown out of proportion because it's pretty hard to grow your forearms. So you're probably good with this one. So this con doesn't really matter, but it's like you see a guy with massive calves, it kind of takes away from his quads and they don't look as big, which I'd rather have big arms than a big forearm, so maybe don't train them too much. Pro number three, rounding out your physique. Now, if you look at a really jacked guy, big arms, big chest, big back, big legs, but he has tiny little wrists and little bitch forearms, something looks off. And forearms, calves, traps, those type of muscles are the most commonly neglected muscles. And when comparing yourself to someone else, it could be really the deciding factor of who looks better, and it really rounds out the physique. It brings together the upper body, much like how you're having big neck and calves and stuff rounds out everything else. Training your forearms could really ascend your physique into more like a god complex. Con, they're a bitch to train / load. Now, most of the time your forearms are really strong just by default, so you're gonna have to use a shit ton of weight. Look at this video. I had to buy a gym pin for like $40 just so I could progressively overload. We can see here where I have a 170.5 pound stack going on. Yeah, I still have to do like 20 reps to reach failure. So in that sense, it's really annoying to overload, and it can also be a really painful pump. If you do it right, it'll be hard to carry your bag out of the gym because of like forearm cramps. Pro number whatever, you can hold more weight without using straps. Now, this could be seen either way. It takes away from your back training, which is the next con. But now this is kind of more of like a cool factor than anything, because like you get a guy that has like a 500-600 pound deadlift and he's not using straps. You kind of see like the haze of attraction and admiration of males and females around him. Now, I can imagine 2 scenarios off the top of my head that this would help. Carrying Costco groceries to the car with your mom, you don't have to whip out your VersaGrip $80 straps anymore to carry your 40 pounds of rotisserie chicken into the trunk. Now, the other scenario is if you're skiing with a couple of your guy friends that you don't have to use straps anymore, and you can hold on to the ski poles without your hands giving out. Now, you might be asking me, Elliot, how do I train forearms? Well, there's really 2 ways you could do this. So traditionally, you could progressively overload them with like a curling movement and like a reverse curling movement, and just like spam the fuck out of them, train them anytime they're not sore, right? You get big forearms from that. But you can also get them without even having to try by just making some lifestyle adjustments. Now, these certain lifestyles or sports can work specific muscles really well without you actually having to train them. Like, for example, swimmers have really big backs and shoulders just because of their sport requires so much of that muscle. Now, you can pick and choose certain lifestyles and sports that indirectly train these muscles without you even having to work that hard. Riding a motorcycle, any guy that rides a motorcycle for like a year or two has massive forearms after doing so, just because you're like squeezing the throttle I don't know if that's actually it, but like I swear to God, every guy that rides a motorcycle, their forearms get bigger, especially like Harleys. Now another sport is rock climbing. This will also get your arms and back in general just massive, but like forearms as well, because you're holding on to such little things with your whole body weight. Calisthenics is another one, just because you're moving your whole body around with your forearms. And the last one is chronic masturbation. Just make sure you do both hands. Thanks for watching, and hopefully after watching this video, you feel inspired to start training your pussy cunt bag soy boy cuck forearms.